Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. I am so kind of been drained today. Today specifically has been a hard one for me because after 12 years, I'm saying goodbye to friends that have become kind of family at one career path. As I embark on the next phase of my life, and thank you for listening, all of you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe to the New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. One of the biggest freeing parts of this that I'm very excited about is the fact that I will be able to conceal carry in whatever endeavor I plan on doing now. So starting tomorrow at the end of day, I am a free agent, going to be completely free from the state. Up until this point in my life, I've always worked in some government entity or some giant corporation, and I became government adjacent. I'm not a fan of being government adjacent considering what the government has done to me and my family in the last, 18 months. But with that, I still feel a drive to help in education. So I'm looking at ways I can help augment their funding stream by investing in industries that are gaining in steam in New Mexico. I'm excited for this weird idea that I'm going to get to carry my Glock 19 again. Everywhere. No matter what. Because Freeman don't ask permission. I'll have my concealed carry, as I always have. I'll continue that. But we live in trying times. If you look around at the world right now, how many times have you seen bad things happen, even in lowly New Mexico? I mean, it was a year ago, I think, or maybe 2 years ago, we had Victoria Martins that was basically cut up and cannibalized after she was, not cannibalized, but cut up to dispose of her body after she was sold as a child to sex traffic, I guess is the best way to put that. And then she was killed by her brother, or not her brother, her mother's boyfriend and his sister, I think. That's damn disgusting. But how many times have you seen Justin Bernalillo? You hear about people getting robbed at gunpoint. It's spreading out even to where I live in northwest New Mexico in Farmington. We're seeing a rise in crime. Now, a lot of people will attribute that directly to, marijuana being legalized in New Mexico. I'm not. I'm going to attribute it to something way back in the gap because I remember it and I remember voting no on it. During Governor Susana Martinez, our previous governor, there was an amendment on the ballot that said in very plain English, if you read it, that they were going to reform bail in New Mexico. And if you voted against that, you're smart, because what you did was stop people from getting cashless bail and just getting out and starting the revolving door. Now, attorney generals in New Mexico and across blue states in the world, and the United States, I should say, they've started letting out criminals and not prosecuting on even minor crimes. If a criminal knows they're not going to get any penalty, what's to stop them? But it also illustrates a very fine point. We've all been traumatized for 2.5 years for the COVID crap, especially in New Mexico. Something had to give. Now that I'm a free agent, I can say what they saw in the classroom. I can tell you, across every educator that I've talked to, that I've had in my care as an IT guy for them, was complaining about behavior. Kids that never been in school are now in school. Kids that were only in school for a semester were then basically homeschooled. Now, we all fought through that, and we all got half-assed education, to say the best. And the reason why is because that's unprecedented. We've never done it before. So I understand it. Where I lay the blame at is not at the educators, not at the administrators, but at the NEA, for one. I'll call them little bastards out all day now that I am not anywhere near associated with them. They're the ones that advocated for masking in New Mexico. And New Mexico, our governor, will side with the NEA any day of the week. It doesn't matter what happens, because education's a big deal. What's really sad is I know some great educators. I know of some great administrators. I have friends from high school that became administrators in other counties and other cities in New Mexico. These people are great people. They're there for the kids. But our governor and our representatives have put forth the Black Education Act. The Black Education Act directly affected New Mexico's social studies standards. That woke agenda that you've been so afraid of, the pieces parts are in that. Now, with that, understand that every administrator worth their salt is working to adopt materials so that they don't have to fight that battle. It's not because they don't want to start a fight. It's because it's not age appropriate. Believe it or not, there's a lot of educators that are on every human person's side. They don't want to sexualize kids. However, they've been infiltrated by the NEA, and anyone that likes the NEA usually is a devout leftist, and they're going to push the agenda because they want power, only power. One of the driving forces for me leaving education, leaving a support role in education specifically, was I was tired of getting my name associated with any of the bullcrap we see in the news. How many idiot teachers have you seen in very blue cities, in very blue states, talk about how they're indoctrinating kids, how they are sexualizing kids, and they're proud of it? These people should be called out and shamed. And there was a point in time in our life, as Eric July says, who's one of my biggest inspirations lately, there was a time and place this type of action would have caused people to jump up and push a fist in someone's face. If you took a kid to a strip club, there would have been people back in the day that would have even raised up and said, hey, that's not right. Now, I have nothing against LGBT, the alphabet people, as we put it, at all. I have a lot of friends that are. And a lot of them are pissed off because there's a lot of groomer bastards in their ranks that are trying to get to kids. And there's a lot of those folks in the alphabet community that want nothing to do with grooming kids. So it's not fair that they're being branded. However, they have allied with anyone who would ever come to their aid because they are really a marginalized people. That's the difference with a lot of what we've seen in the United States, is a real marginalized group is being exploited by the left right now for power. And it's reflecting in everything. To get back to the 2A, have you checked out Mr. Guns and Gear and the Military Arms Channel? What they've talked about on Twitter specifically was about the brace rule that's coming down. So, if you don't know, the ATF is trying to go about by executive fiat. Now, I've talked about this on the podcast before, and I apologize for the exposition about education. It strikes home right now because I'm leaving behind a ship I hope sails rather than burn. So the brace thing, what those two were talking about, Tim said from Military Arms Channel, think about, you just made 40 million people, American citizens, felons, if you use this and make this illegal. Now what this means, if they don't even have to pass it, the ATF can just apparently make law. That's not how the United States works. You're supposed to pass it through the House and the Senate before it becomes law. Therefore, if you're going to ban something like a brace, it should go through Congress. What happens when they ban it? You are to Form 1 your pistol so that they know where it's at. You're going to have to take pictures. You're going to have to take fingerprints. You're going to have to pass a background check again. You have to pay a $200 tax stamp, and they're talking about waiving that. You're going to have to send pictures of the firearm with serial numbers and all of its configuration to them and register it. Now, what that means is that if you had a previously found legal by the ATF is the one that actually said braces were okay. Now they're retracting that because of politics. So, what that means is you had a previously legal item that the government is going to try to take away from you. Where Mike from Military Arms Channel comes in is he says, hey, they won't have to go door to door for everyone. They'll make an example of a few, and everyone else will be strong-armed into complying. I agree with Mike. That's how our federal government has started to work. There was a point in time our government, especially ATF, was kind of 2A friendly. Why else would we have gotten the brace? Why else would it have been legal for the bump stock? Remember, the ATF signed off on all this stuff. So, we're here now. I have also come back to another subject. Form 473. We all know it as a NICS background check. If you look at it now, the form they're trying to push out now, get adoption for it, it will be mandatory in the new year, is that you have to have, there's a spot on the form for if you made the firearm and are transferring it to someone else. So what they're looking for in this regard is ghost guns, quote-unquote ghost guns, making it to sale. Now, that shouldn't happen, for one. But if it does, it just has to be serialized. That's what the old rules say. But here's where the problem lies. You're now saying that someone made a gun or manufactured a gun, and you're entering it into the Federal Registry of Serial Numbers so that they know this gun exists. What can the government do with that? They've already tried to ban ghost guns. So if you purchase one legally over the counter, saying someone finished in like an AR lower or a Glock Polymer 80 lower, they would then see this person as a manufacturer and be able to go after them. That's problem one. Problem two is it asks some very specific questions about straw purchasing, which I don't have a problem with. However, the first question on most Form 473 is, are you in fact the purchaser of the firearm? If you do not check yes, they will have and always have denied you. Okay? Adding these other questions adds to the potential of confusing people that don't really read it. What that means is it's going to put people in trouble for just trying to follow the law because they didn't understand the form. The last thing that they're doing is they're gaining more statistics on the actual people buying guns. This is akin to gun registry. We need to stop it. So I'm asking you yet again to get on your horse, get out there and make as much noise about this. In my new life, now that I am no longer an IT guy, at least that's what it looks like, it means that we need to take that next step and go on the offensive and make what we want stay legal. Let's keep New Mexico tactical. Like, share, subscribe, be great.